I developed the programming workflow class because I felt like a lot of times when you take programming classes from manufacturers, they're just as interested in showing you how cool their console is, so they want to show you all the features and everything. Whereas I'm more interested in getting the show programmed. And so I developed a programming workflow class, which is, because it turns out the approach for every console is exactly the same. The syntax is different. The syntax is the keystrokes that you enter. And every console has unique syntax. They have unique button layout. They have unique hardware and unique software. But the approach is the same. The approach is you start off by patching your fixtures, and then you create groups of fixtures. Then you create palettes, and you can have color palettes and gobo palettes and beam palettes and just all kinds of palettes. And then you use those palettes to build cues, and you can record cues with or without timing. If you know the timing, then you can record your cues with the timing. Sometimes you just record a stack of cues, and then you go back and edit the timing later on. And then depending on what kind of show you're doing, you might have a different approach. One of the things that's very popular right now is busking, or playing stuff on the fly. That means that you're basically jamming with the music. You're making it up as you go instead of having pre-recorded cue to cue. So if you're working in the theater, then the actors are repeating their lines, and they have set blocking where they stand in a certain spot every single time and deliver their lines. So in an environment like that, it's very easy to create cue to cue because it's repeated every day. And then old school music concert touring programming was, typically a band would rehearse and they'd develop a set list and they'd perform the songs in exactly the same way every night. Sometimes they have, they're also jam bands like Fish, Allman Brothers, and the Grateful Dead, who you never know where they're going to go, so you have to be ready to follow them. And then you have EDM shows where it's just it might be a 12-hour show, nonstop music. There's no way that they're going to know ahead of time what's going to happen, so you have to be ready to put a show together on the fly. So depending on circumstances, you might set up the console in different ways. You can use your faders to stack your playbacks so that one fader controls color, one controls beam movement, one controls focus positions, and so on, and you build it as you go and change it on the fly. And some people get really, really good at doing that. And after you do a couple of EDM shows, you get lots of practice, so you get really good at it. Unfortunately, we don't have a third day, so we're not going to do the console programming class, but I would encourage you to download. There's lots of free offline editors that you can download. The M series has one. It's called, what's it called, MPC?
It's just MPC, yeah.
I'm sorry?
MPC.
Yeah, MPC.
It actually gives you 4 DMX universes.
And so you get 4 free, wow, that's amazing. When I was starting out in the lighting business, if you wanted to learn how to program a console, you'd stay late in the shop, and you'd have to physically pull the gear off the shelf, open up their cases, set everything up, set the DMX addresses, set up the console, and by the time you're ready to program, it's time to go home. You never had time, right? So we live in amazing times. It's really amazing that if you have a PC or in some cases a Mac, you can download free software, and it emulates the exact layout of the console, and it teaches you the syntax and the strokes you need to program a show. There are also some visualizers as well. Is there a visualizer that comes with the M series?
2D View.
Sorry?
2D View.
It's called 2D View.
Yeah, it's part of the actual software itself,
Okay.
so you have to start up the software. And
Okay. So it's integrated into MPC?
Yes.
Okay. But there, and there are offline editors and other visualizers for almost every console. So I would encourage you to download and play with it, and especially since it's free, and you get 4 free universes of DMX. That's mind blowing.
If you look up one of those e-nodes, you can do up to 4 physical universes.
Okay. So you need an e-node to actually output DMX.
You need something to output DMX.
Okay.
You can do it with a lot of different things, but one of the e-nodes would be the least
Okay.
expensive way.
Okay.
The other option is if for your purpose of what you're just training on is with Capture, which is one of our visualizers, or there's some other ones that are out there. You can do ArtNet if you have 2 different machines, mainly because it's going to crash if you don't, if you try to put that all on one unit. But you can run any of those softwares. We use obviously MPC, and then network it, ArtNet, over to the other computer, and you can build a visualizer.
Okay, so what Red is saying is that it works better if you have 2 separate machines. You run one machine is running the visualizer, one's running the offline editor, and you network them together. And that's where your networking exercises and skills will come in handy. Now, I've never had trouble running the same 2 pieces of software on the same computer before, but there is some configuration involved in that. So, and ideally, it probably is better to run them on separate PCs. And I'll tell you what I did at home. I have a Dell touchscreen monitor, which is great because if you have the command keys on a touchscreen, then you can touch them just like you do a real console. I mean, obviously it doesn't have the same tactile feel, but the layout is the same, and you start to develop muscle memory for that. And then for my second monitor, I bought a 39-inch 4K television, which was cheap. It was $350. And with the 4K monitor, there's enough resolution that you can make the windows small and you can label them and you can still read them. If you try it on a 1024 monitor or a 2000 pixel monitor, then the pixels are too big. So if you try to make the print too small, it's illegible. So I found that a 4K television works good as a second monitor to put up your visualizer on the 4K television, and you still have plenty of real estate left to put up your palettes, your color presets, your preset focus positions. And now, because it's not a touch monitor, you have to mouse over to that, but it's still, it's not perfect, but it works pretty well. And so I would encourage you to do that, okay? So, now we have a unique opportunity. We've got a room full of gear here, and we've got the console, we've got some networking stuff. So you all are welcome to stay. We said the class ends at 5. It's 4:20 right now. But you can stick around and try different stuff out. Now, what I would like to ask you to do is, so first of all, don't leave without your signed certificate. And then secondly, if you'd be kind enough to write an evaluation of the class, I'm interested in your feedback, and let me know how we can improve the class, what we can do better, or what we did that you like, so we'll continue to do it. Like things like pizza was great, or constructive criticism is welcome. Okay, so you know what? We covered a huge amount of material the last couple of days. Even today, we covered a huge amount of material. And the thing is that this technology is changing. It's evolving very, very rapidly. We're all in this together. We're all going up this steep learning curve together. And to be able to get together and share knowledge and information, I think, is invaluable. So thank you all for coming out and for participating. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And I hope we can do it again. Okay? Thank you all very much. Thank you.